every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Say from him slip up all eyes on him. I defend the people, them said spice on him. Evil politicians spread lies on him. But we know the bugger them not wise like him. Back up, them not ties on him. Them know said that the people rely on him. You know said them bring out them cries through him. That's why all the people them respect him. Just like Selassie and Marcus Garvey. Rock you all the order of the Trinity. A real strong soldier in a army. No simpleton can disarm you. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. How long them a gonna know say that them fire can't cool? How long them a gonna take our people for fool? Nah build no houses, them nah build no school. Think them up the handle but of the most I rule. Them better stop criticizing. Cause what them a do now phase him. You know the man no lazy. All them a talk, them a the one red crazy. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Say from him slip up all eyes on him. I defend the people, them said spice on him. Evil politicians spread lies on him. But we know the bugger them not wise like him. Back up, them not ties on him. Them know said that the people rely on him. You know said them bring out them cries through him. That's why all the people them respect him. Just like Selassie and Marcus Garvey. The man who hold the order of the Trinity. A real strong soldier in a army. No simpleton can disarm you. Them fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Them fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Them fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Most High Jah, guide us now, yeah. Our people need to see the light. Turn it up right. He will fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. Say from him slip up all eyes on him. I defend the people, them said spice on him. Evil politicians spread lies on him. But we know the bugger them not wise like him. Back up, them not ties on him. Them know said that the people rely on him. You know said them bring out them cries through him. That's why all the people them respect him. Just like Selassie and Marcus Garvey. Rock you all the order of the Trinity. A real strong soldier in a army. No simpleton can disarm you. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk him life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day, defending your rights. I saw him stay. How long them a gonna know say that them fire can't cool? How long them a gonna take our people for fool? Nah build no houses, them nah build no school. Think them up the handle but of the most I rule. Them better stop criticizing. Cause what them a do now phase him. You know the man no lazy. All them a talk, them are the one we're crazy. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights, I saw him stay. We'll fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights, I saw him stay. Say from him step up all eyes on him. I defend the people, them set spice on him. Even politicians spread lies on him. But we know the bugger them not wise like him. Back up, them not no ties on him. Them know said that the people rely on him. You know said them bring out them cries through him. That's why all the people them respect him. Just like Selassie and Marcus Garvey, the man hold the order of the Trinity. A real strong soldier in a army. No simpleton can disarm me. Them fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights, I saw him stay. Them fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights, I saw him stay. Them fight for the people every day. Risk them life for the people every day. Get criticized for the people every day. Defending your rights, I saw him.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. All right. Folks, welcome to Come Reason with Rattigan, the feeder program for Reason with Rattigan. We have some technical difficulties going on here, but we're going to power through it. Let me start with this. Oh, by the way, let me just say thank you for the support. We're close to getting the desired mark for TikTok. So what I'd like to do is ask you, if you haven't made the commitment yet, go over to OJLDF and just sign up to follow us on TikTok. We want to start the program, but we need a certain amount before we can go live. And so we're asking you to go over and do the necessary things. Hold on a second, people. Yeah. So we get thrown off a little bit because we have at the very last moment, we had a little technical issue. Let me hold on a second, folks. Kevin is doing something, so I can't. Pauline, big up yourself, straight out of Jerusalem. I can't get to the cursor because he's using it right now. So in the meantime, when I can just go and big up on yourself, heal up everybody, you know, one family, one class, and the purpose of this gathering is to educate and elevate, which we could entertain you, but we're not having any jokes around here. So, okay, all right, thank you. All right, let me borrow this for a second. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, people. Again, one big welcome to all of you. Tonight we can't go through the greetings individually because we have a lot to talk about. And at the same time, we have to be mindful of the time because Kevin, his program starts at 10 p.m. sharp. So we only have 2 hours. So I'm just going to go through as much as I can, keeping in mind that there's an exam this Saturday. So we're going to go over a little bit of stuff that may or may not be on the exam, right? But just so you know, tonight we just talk about the TikTok. Again, people, if you haven't signed up to follow us, please go over to OJLDF and sign up so that we can go live on TikTok. We're going to talk a little bit about government, about the Minister Vaz, Cooper Spen, and we have a promo for Saturday. My goodness gracious. Saturday's program. I was told not to say a lot about it, but it is going to be a barn buster. This program Saturday, you can't miss it. Whatever you have planned for Saturday, cancel. Cancel. You have to show up this Saturday. Cooper Spen is and continues to be a national disgrace. The program we have slated for this Saturday, or the main topic for this Saturday, is also a national disgrace. You can't miss it. I'm going to show you the promo in a few. But let me start with this, please.
And I hold a gun. We can talk about the law. If you hold a knife...
Start over. Here we go.
If you hold a gun, and I hold a gun, we can talk about the law. If you hold a knife, and I hold a knife, we can talk about rules. If you come empty-handed, and I come empty-handed, we can talk about reason. But if you have a gun, and I only have a knife, then the truth lies in your hands. If you have a gun, and I have nothing, what you hold isn't just a weapon, it's my life. The concepts of law, rules, and morality only hold meaning when they are based on equality. The harsh truth of this world is that when money speaks, truth goes silent. And when power speaks, even money takes 3 steps back. Those who create the rules are often the first to break them. Rules are chains for the weak, tools for the strong. In this world, anything good must be fought for. The masters of the game are fiercely competing for resources, while only the weak sit idly, waiting to be given a share.
Hear that, folks? The weak sit idly, waiting for things to happen. This is so apropos. It's so relevant to what we do, who we are. If you hold a gun and I hold a gun, we can talk about the law. If you hold a knife and I hold a knife, we can talk about the rules. See, we're equal. So it requires mutual respect. But if you come empty-handed, if you come empty-handed and I come empty-handed, we can talk about reason. Again, equality. But if you have a gun and I only have a knife, then the truth lies in your hands. If you have a gun and I have nothing, what you hold isn't just a weapon, it's my life. And so, please understand that there is no equality. Instead, there is injustice. And we're trying to get back or get to a position of balance, fairness, justice, equity. Because if you look at what's been going on for several years now, the government holds a gun. We, the citizens, hold nothing. Remember, if you have a gun and I have nothing, what you hold isn't just a weapon. It's my life. There's no equality there. Let me just move this. All right. We'll run through some things quickly. It has come to my attention that some people, when we talked about Cooper's pen last week and we were focused on the hours that a bailiff can work, there apparently was some confusion because some people were saying, no man, the bailiff can work till 6. And we had said a bailiff to regain possession of property, real property, not personal property, real property. Difference, real property is land. So for personal property, for real property land, we were saying that it's from 8 till 4. That's what the law says. And some people were saying 6. Let me just clear up that because we don't want people walking away with the wrong information. Here we go. And by the way, I can tell you right now that this is going to be on the exam. This is going to be the form of the question. I can't tell you, but the information will be on the exam. Here we go. See this? There are 2 things involved here. Come on. All right. There's one, seizure of goods. Goods. There's another one, warrant of possession. Seizure of goods, it has to do with furniture, car, etc. You're not trying to take possession of the property, of real property. Real property is land. You're not trying to take possession of real property from someone. You're trying to take personal property from someone. Big difference. Personal property, real property. Most of you, I'm sure when somebody says personal property, you know that they're talking about, clothing, car, jewelry, all of that. But when you hear real property, you're not quite sure what they're referring to. Real property is land. So if I want to get possession of my land, if I want to evict you, I must go to court. I must give you an order of eviction, or I must give you a note of eviction saying, I want you off my property within 30 days, 60 days. You don't leave, then I have to go to court, get a court order, and we proceed from there. And then we get the bailiff to come, and the bailiff must dispossess you of possession. Dispossess you, remove you from my property. That is number 2, warrant of possession. See what it says? To give possession of premises, real estate. The first one, seizure of goods, that's to satisfy a judgment debt. That one, the first one, you can go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you're trying to get personal property from someone, furniture, cars, etc., you can go to the premises where you believe this person lives or where the goods are. You can go there anytime as a bailiff. You can go there anytime between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Number 1. Number 2, which is the situation that we're talking about. Number 2, you have to go between 8 and 4. So Cooper's pen, between 8 and 4. We know that they went at 3 or wee hours of the morning, way past the time or way before the time, whichever way you want to look at it, that they should execute that warrant. Now, see what it says right there? An order for seizure and sale may not be enforced between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. See that? So if you're coming to take somebody's jewelry, car, furniture, whatever, you can't come between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. You can't come between 6 in the evening and 6 in the morning. But from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, you can come. To kick off somebody off a property, you're the landlord, person not paying rent. You want to get rid of the person. Bailiff come, move the person out. That can only take place between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., which means from 4 p.m. until 8 a.m., you can't do it. Here are some examples. See that? Examples. Bailiff seizing a vehicle to satisfy a judgment debt. Move this over. Bailiff seizing furniture or other household items for sale. Sometimes, something that's kind of unique to Jamaica, hire purchase. Well, it's not, when I say unique to Jamaica, we don't have that here in America. What they have is layaway, but you don't get possession of the items until you finish paying. Jamaica, you can do hire purchase. So when I was growing up, I used to see bailiff come and take with people mattress, take with them bed, them buffet, as we say, right? So that 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I was going to show you the law, but we're pressed for time. We'll do this some other time. But the legal source is Civil Procedure Rules 2006, Rule 46.13, subsection 1. And it says the order may not be enforced between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Again, people, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible so that you can go out and you can educate people who don't know. If you're a bailiff, and you're coming to see someone's property, household items, jewelry, car, you can only do that between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. We understand that. And if you're looking for the source of that, it is the Civil Procedure Rules. It's right there, the very last column, section, which says legal source. You can go look it up yourself. Rule 46.13, subsection 1. Look it up, people. Don't take my word for it. Just go look it up for yourself, because I want you to be confident when you speak to people about these things. Confident in your understanding and your research, not what Rattigan said. Rattigan is just a guide to get you to your destination. Your destination is you pick it up, look at it yourself, and you say, aha. So when you talk to somebody, you don't say Rattigan said. You said, I read it for myself, and this is what he said. No, this is what it says. Now look at the second section over here. See that? Let me big this up. All right, see that? Bailiff entering a property under warrant of possession to put the owner of the property in possession, meaning that if I own it and you are my tenant, or you are, as they say, squatting on my property and you haven't done so for 12 years, the warrant of possession gives the bailiff the right to remove you and all of your things in. So this is more encompassing. The first one, you can only take the person's personal property. The second one, you move out the person, you take them bed, fling it on the roadside, you put out everything. You see that? Also, a bailiff entering or removing persons from property after an eviction order. So the court issues that order. And if you're looking for the source of that information, there it is. Judicature, or some people say Judicature Act, section 249, which says, no entry under any such warrant shall be made, except between the hours of 8 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. There it is, people. I have the law, can put it up on show you, but time is at a premium, so I'm not going to do that tonight, but at some point we'll do it. But the important thing to, when people tell us, oh, you can bailiff can't come for kick off enough to evict somebody after, they can come up to 6 o'clock, they're wrong. You can only come to take personal property up to 6 o'clock. If you want to kick people off of the property, you have to do it by 4 p.m. 8 and 4 to remove persons. 6 and 6 to remove personal property, not the person. I hope that you understand this. And I've given you the citations. What's this? If the order from the court, if it is violated, that the warrant is invalid. Richard, that's a good point. Yeah, you can't violate the court order. You can't. Or you're not supposed to. You can, but you're not supposed to. There are consequences for that. And so if you're the person who, let's say they come at 8 o'clock at night and take away your buffet and your cabinet and your bed and you go to court. You have a cause of action because you're only supposed to do it up to 6. And if they come after 8, it's a problem. Likewise with Cooper Spend, when they went in the wee hours of the morning, it's a problem because they were supposed to execute that warrant by 4 p.m., between 8 and 4. I think I've labored enough on that point, so I'll just remove it. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat. If I have time, I'll address them. If not, we'll pick up on Saturday. All right. Let me just give a shout out to all of the research people upon the team, and at the same time show you, give you a little whet your appetite about what's coming up on Saturday. Here we go. See there? Jamaica's healthcare gap. We're going to talk about critical shortfall. Put it back, OT, please. Put that. Critical shortfall, who gets scared, different access, different reality, different outcomes. And you see this man with a what do you call that thing again? I have one of them on my yard and I remember. You see him go up on the plane, crutch. See him go up on the plane with a crutch. People, tune in Saturday. Tune in Saturday. Tune in Saturday. Remove that, please, OT. No, leave it. Because we'll put it up another time before we go. Tune in Saturday, because the things you're going to hear this Saturday, the things we're going to show you will be remarkable. Again, we're going to show you, and we're going to show you where you can find these items, these documents, because we want you to say, now I know. Now I understand. We don't want you to say, we did hear say. It's just like the warrant of possession and the seizure of goods. We want you to go out and to be able to have a civil discussion with people. No shouting or anything like that. The truth should be your friend. You know, no shouting. And you just calmly explain to them that, no, there are different things that the bailiff, that bailiffs are responsible for addressing. And if it's personal property, it's this. And if it's possession of real property, then it's this. All right, so tune in this Saturday. OT wanted me to jump in, not half hour gone already, people. No believe this? All right. OT is to show my play this.
West Kingston was the site of the abattoir. It is the location of the morgue. It has the biggest cemetery in the entire island. It has one of the main sewage treatment plants. It had the worst garbage dump, known as Dungle, and it had the worst slum in the entire country, known as Backawall. Backawall had no roads, it had no lights, it had no water, it had no sewerage. 2 public latrines and 2 community pipes served its 5,000 residents. People lived in discarded cars, bits and pieces of scrap metal and cardboard tied together. There was a nest where the worst criminals gathered and stamped their image on the face of West Kingston. What we set out to do was to reverse the process of decay, to demonstrate that even the wasteland of Backer Wall could be reclaimed, that out of the worst could be created the best. But it was a hard road to travel.
It's a hard road to travel, and a mighty long way to go.
The story of Tivoli Gardens cannot be told without reference to the Honorable Edward Saga, the social engineer who was the architect of this amazing physical and spiritual transformation. As the people's representative in Parliament, as Minister of Development, then as Minister of Finance and Planning, he was largely responsible for the concept of development of the area. Backer Wall was an inherited problem. In August 1962, when Jamaica gained its independence under the leadership of the Jamaican national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante, it faced a complex of economic and social problems that had accumulated over 3 centuries of colonial rule. Jamaica, like other countries, had been experiencing a shift of its population from rural to urban areas, and with this shift, an accumulation of social problems. Despite the rapid pace of industrialization, the cities, particularly Kingston, had not been able to keep pace with the rapid expansion of its population. In 1962, when the Union Jack was replaced by the green, black, and gold flag of the newly independent nation, the seething economic and social problems had reached major proportions. The symbolism of the flag reflected the optimism of the people. Hardships there are, but the land is green, and the sun shineth. The new government set about to attack its problem with energy and determination. And in less than 10 years, spearheaded by its young, dynamic Prime Minister, Right Honorable Hugh Shearer, produced remarkable results. In many respects, Tivoli Gardens is an example of its outstanding achievements.
What we set out to do was to reverse the physical and human erosion of the area and to show that the worst could become the best.
And so began the transfiguration of Backer Wall. What would be their plan? Burn it up? Blow it up? Raise it to the ground? But would it be enough to change old things for new? To build new tenements over old tattoos? The plan was unique. It was not enough only to replace the shells in which people lived out their lives. More important was the way of life within the shell.
It is one thing to erect new buildings and remove people into them. But unless you can induce a higher standard of behavior, a higher standard of living among the people, you will simply end up with a higher class of slum.
All right, let me stop it right here because we're pressed for time. Let me just say this, that the story that wasn't told there is this. It was Premier. Jamaica didn't have a prime minister at the time, 1961, before independence. It was Premier Norman Manley who went to the United States, met with President John F. Kennedy to talk to him about various issues, including federation. And one of those issues was low-cost extended loan to build a housing complex that became known as Tivoli Gardens. When you hear me, this is not politics, this is a history. Facts. It was Norman Manley, Premier Norman Manley, who came to the United States, sat down with President John F. Kennedy, and discussed financing a project in West Kingston called Tivoli Gardens. 1962. What do we have in 1962? Constitution, independence, new government. The money was allocated during that time. I want you to bear that in mind. That's how Tivoli came about. Now, I know about Tivoli because my auntie Kathleen, her soul rest in peace. I know one of my cousins, Yvonne, is watching this program right now. I used to go to Tivoli on a Sunday because never really have much, never have nowhere freely. You just see that box boat. And on a Sunday, I would go to Tivoli Gardens to get my Sunday dinner from my auntie. And she would give me a pocket money so that I could go to school the following week. Thank you, OT. There's a picture of John F. Kennedy meeting with Premier Norman Manley. So I just wanted to throw that history. And now we're talking about housing. That is the biggest topic right now in Jamaica, housing. How do we house our people? Remember what we talked about this past Saturday? That coming out of slavery, we had nothing. We owned nothing in terms of real estate. That's where we're coming from the 1860s. So it's no wonder that we have over 600,000 people, so-called squatters, living. I think 75% of them live on crown lands, which actually belong to the people, and 25% on private land. So, OT, appoint me over here. So, I'm going to play this one now, OT. You move the Norman Manley one. OT, I steer the ship today. So, OT wanted me to show you a little bit about what's going on with Jamaica now in terms of land surveying. Here we go.
As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength, proteins.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Land titling is set to be modernized under a $1.42 billion Korea-Jamaica partnership. Details in this report.
At a time when land reform has been a point of contention, a $1.4 billion program to modernize land titling has been announced. On Tuesday, the government signed off on the Land Administration Capacity Enhancement Project through a partnership with the Korea International Cooperation Agency. It's expected to bridge the gap between land possession and title.
A land title is more than a document, it is a platform for opportunity. And this project is about building that platform at scale. Across the world, public administration is being transformed by data, digital platforms, geospatial intelligence, automation, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence. Jamaica must keep pace.
The project will be implemented by the National Land Agency, NLA, with technical partners including Korea Land and Geospatial Informatics Corporation, and will run in stages. It will run until 2031, with the first phase to set institutional arrangements and establish the Land Administration Innovation Center, and eventually become a hub for practical trainer development through intensive preparation courses.
The programs will include geoinformatics, cadastral mapping, surveying technician training, cybersecurity for government, land record management, and advanced GIS training using ArcGIS Pro. The ArcGIS component is particularly significant. It will prepare the NLA staff for the transition to electronic land registration solution.
Let me just move him because welcome, sis.
Hello, my brother. How are you?
I'm on top of the world.
Ooh.
What? I want
You're on
to.
top of it.
we see. So, people,
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank God.
ArcGIS. ArcGIS actually is an old technology. I remember we were talking about ArcGIS 10, 15, 20. It's old. But anyway, you know, you can't bring any old brook and come sell at Jamaica, you know, because you know how it go already.
No joking, my brother.
Yeah, you can't bring any old brook and sell and go there because we know it go. We know it go, you know.
Because they're frightened for foreigners.
Top all of them things, eh? So we know the scheme. So and then poor our people, a lot of us, we don't understand some of these technical terms, the technology. We don't understand all of this. So when them say it, you say, yeah, man, do something, you know. But what's been done? Nothing.
But like I think it was Marty Perkins. Well, no, I think it was Babatunde who said that they get your vote in pattern, but they spend it in English. They spend the money, they get you for spending money in English. Because you listen to all of that, and even us as educated, smart people don't have a clue what he's saying. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine a person who can read that again? Make it make some sense.
Indeed.
So they say these nice things, you know, to throw people off.
And I think to some degree he doesn't even believe what he's saying. Or some people would say
not a word.
So much that him believe are true. It's one or the other. It's like him not believe it or completely believe him lie.
But you know why, what you're saying is right again, that he doesn't believe what he's saying. Was it budgeted for? Because if it is not in the budget, it's not gonna happen.
Indeed. Now, folks, sis, here's what happened. I was told that there was some comment made about some form of government, democratic socialism, and I don't know anything about it. I don't. Mm-hmm. I never saw it, never heard it. I mean, the comment that caused this furor, where I heard that people, it's the latest topic now, democratic socialism. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to look at it from what someone said. I'm going to look at it from a strictly factual basis. Because we want to educate our people. And I'm going to show you people something tonight. Now, remember that we talked about our system of governance. We've even had an exam. We have some exam questions in the past. We had some exam questions on our system of governance, government in Jamaica. I'm going to show you a chart that we recently developed. And I can tell you that this Saturday, there will be questions coming from this chart. There will be questions. Those of you who plan to take the exams, and I suspect that's all of you students, pay close attention. Take a look at this. All right, remember a while back we showed you one from JIS. Well, what we did was we went and we built it out. We built it out, and we're going to quickly explain this to you. Now, remember what we said, that Jamaica has a king, King Charles. Mm-hmm. It's not a joke. This is a fact. And the king is represented by the Governor General. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, if you look at the Constitution, it says there's certain things that the Governor General, the king by extension, they have control over. Well, let's start with, what is government? Let me ask that question. What is government? Because people say government this and government that and government that. You must understand this basic concept that the opposition and the ruling party, they're government.
Yeah.
The opposition, they participate in debates.
Yes.
They participate in voting in parliament. They are part of government. So when people say government this and government, I think what you really want to say is cabinet. Cabinet sets the policy for the country of Jamaica, not the parliament. The parliament gets a chance to debate what's been brought to the floor for policy and laws and procedures and regulations. And sometimes they themselves can put forward some of these things. But when you talk about policy for the country, it's the cabinet, those 18, well, I don't know what the number is now because the prime minister keeps putting new people in his office and give them ministerial position.
That's 28, you know.
28.
28 of the 35 MPs are either ministers of government, state minister, or parliamentary secretaries.
Okay.
So 28 and what, 7 make 35?
Yes.
Yes. So yes. So yes. So every member of parliament is in this. Yeah.
The 28 people. We never had this before. And remember now, when you're a minister, now you pay a jump up. So what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now I was going to say, and even the parliamentary secretary is getting $18 million a year. And somebody asked a question. I was on Colin Bell's show watching it, and somebody asked in his chat, does the Ministry of Education need 3 people? You have the Minister of Education, the Minister of State, and you also have the Parliamentary Secretary. That's 3 persons right there in a country where resources are so scarce. You have 3 persons, and still the Ministry of Education is failing. Yeah, continue.
Well, how about Babsy, Minister Grange's ministry, where she's a minister, she has a state minister, and she has 2 permanent secretaries.
You see, okay, there you go.
Not one.
There you go. It's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy.
So now people remember this. The government of Jamaica, there are 3 branches of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The executive, that's the cabinet. They are the ones responsible for setting policies. The legislature, that's parliament. They are the ones who pass the laws. And then you have the judiciary, that's the court system, that judges. They're the ones who interpret the laws. So let's go down now. Look at it right here. Here it is. Let's talk with the cabinet, the executive, the cabinet. Prime Minister and members of the cabinet, and the ministers are assigned portfolios, and they oversee departments and agencies. They're appointed by the Governor General on the advice of the Prime Minister, and they include statutory bodies and advisors such as the Attorney General, and they have the local government. These are the people setting policies. Not these people here. Not that. These are the people for making laws and overseeing government finances and guiding fiscal policy. But the real policy, listen to me, the policies governing the direction of Jamaica is coming from the cabinet. So the legislature, we have the king, and we have the parliament, bicameral, and it means two by Senate, House of Representatives. Now look, the Senate has 21 members, 13 nominated by the Prime Minister. Look at the remaining 8 nominated by the leader of the opposition. They discuss. They can't pass. I don't think they can pass finance bills, but they can talk about other bills. They debate other bills. They vote on other bills, including constitutional bills dealing with the Constitution. And look, they review bills passed by the House of Representatives. So when I'm telling you that the opposition is part of the government, believe me when I tell you this. Look at the lower house, 63 elected members. You see the Senate, 21, and they're all appointed. Prime Minister gets 13, opposition leader gets 8. On the other side, 63, and they represent they represent 63 constituencies. They debates and passes legislation, and they control government finances. 63. But what's the number? What are the numbers now? 35 and 28. Opposition 28. Government. They're part of government. Remember that, people. They're not part of this one, the cabinet. They're not. The cabinet, you know, the elite group, the ones that, as you heard from Sister Maria, 28 of them. So when you hear the post-cabinet briefing, no opposition member is invited to that or is a part of that, because that's the ruling party. So 28 of them now, they sit down and you see, all right, you see the thing about the TCN, the up to 10,000 people are coming to Jamaica. You think any opposition member had any saying that? No.
No.
The cabinet, they set the policy. And then we'll come over. So you have policy, right? Cabinet. You have laws, legislature. And then over here now, you have the judiciary, the courts. We have the Privy Council, believe it or not, still in effect in London. It's the apex court, meaning it's the top court. It's a court where you go for final review of criminal and civil matters. You have the CCJ, by the way. Then you have the Court of Appeal in Jamaica. You have the Supreme Court. You have the Resident Magistrates Court. And you have other courts: traffic court, gun court, family, revenue, coroners, juveniles, and civil court. These are all the courts right there in 6. Plus the Resident Magistrates Court, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, blah, blah, blah. So I want you to pay, again, let me go back over it. The cabinet, they deal with policy. And you'll hear the ministers say it. You'll hear ministers, and even the prime minister, you'll hear him say, my job is just to set the policy, and the people below me, their job is to implement the policy. You'll hear them say that. And then legislature, parliament, they pass laws. And the judiciary, they interpret those laws. Again, let me go back. Executive, cabinet, they determine policy. Those policies, they'll come over here, and in many instances, they'll become bills. And after bills, they'll become laws. And then when they become laws, they come over here for review to see whether or not they pass constitutional muster. These things will be on the exam this Saturday. Just keep that in mind. Let me see if, and then we have the Auditor General right here as well. So, let me move this and then go to, where is my, hold on one second. Oh, we talk about the opposition. I want you to listen to this.
Our role as the opposition is to provide constructive scrutiny, offer practical alternatives, and ensure that public policies and programs genuinely improve the lives of our people. Every question we ask, every report we analyze, every motion we table, and every alternative policy we propose should ultimately serve that purpose.
All right, that gentleman's from Uganda, part of the opposition. And hear what he's saying. He's listing the things that as opposition members they're required to do, they're supposed to do, because they were sent there by the people. Take a look at this. And then we get to the democratic socialism piece. Take a look at this. In Jamaica now, we're talking about the role of the political opposition. Chart kind of busy, but I'll quickly go through it. Key roles of the opposition. There it is, hold government accountable. So you have to question them about spending. That's why the PAC and the PAAC, you hear a lot about them. They're chaired by opposition members. And they're doing a really good job of questioning spending and exposing Not just mistakes, waste, or wrongdoing, but also corruption they're exposing. Then we have they examine and debate legislation. They offer alternative solutions. They represent diverse views. They monitor public spending and administration, and they protect democracy and rights. Come over here, so. Here it is. When you see government right there, so, it's essentially cabinet, right? So, cabinet accountable to parliament. So, parliament debates, passes laws, and holds government accountable. Look at opposition. Questions, scrutinizes, and offers alternatives. And it is right here. Forget me not have Kevin thing. All right, see it right there, so? Opposition participates in debate, questions, and committees. So you see the opposition plays a crucial role. Never mind where it says right here, where it says government right here. Technically speaking, opposition is part of government. No. We showed you earlier the thing about Tivoli Gardens. And we showed you that housing, for example, is a huge problem in Jamaica. Remember, slavery, at the end of the abolition of slavery, left us landless. We started out with, we worked the land, but when they say you're free to go, we didn't have anything. And when they say free to go, remember, and Bert Samuels took us down this road this past Saturday. He said, listen, they passed a law. When the abolition bill passed, the slave masters said to the colonial leaders in England, listen, you're taking away our property without compensation. And what happened? They said, all right, we're going to give you 20 million pounds, which was, think about it, 1800s. And the slave owner said, this money is not enough. We want more money. And the UK government said, okay, even though the bill has been passed for you to free the slaves, you can keep them for another 4 years and just say it's apprenticeship. But it's still slavery. Them not get no money. Right? You just keep them there and just you keep, because we can't give you more than 20 million pounds. So we'll have you keep the slaves for another 4 years. So they kept the slaves 4 years after the slaves were, they passed the bill to free the slaves. They kept them for 4 more years working for free. And when the 4 years were up, what did they do? They passed a law saying that if you stay on the property, you don't own anything, you're going to have to work and buy what you need. And if you come off of the property and we catch you out the street, we're going to lock you up for being a vagrant. So they tied you to the land. So Jamaican, listen, all the way who are descendants of slaves, and we own something now, our ancestors are smiling and they're proud of us because they had nothing and they had to fight, etc. We are standing on the shoulders of great people, but we don't act like it today. We don't act like it because look at what's going on in Jamaica now. And you barely hear a peep out of the people. You barely hear a peep. So, again, when we got down to the Tivoli thing, remember, as I said, it was Premier Norman Manley who went to the White House in 1961, sat down with JFK and said, listen, let me tell you what's going on with Federation and let me tell you what's going on with West Kingston. We need a long-term, low-interest loan to build out this development. And it was agreed that, yes, we're going to give you and do that. And then things happen. History took place, right? And Jamaica got independence, new government, and the new government became the beneficiary of what was done before. So history must, as I've often said, the truth must not only be the truth. The truth can't be a lie. The truth must not only be the truth, but the truth must be told. So we've always had a problem. We've always had a problem. And Saturday we're going to give the history about how the housing development thing take out, the development of housing in Jamaica. We're going to do a little piece on that. But that's that part. But then we get to this. And this is what I was told that people are arguing about. I'm not a part of the conversation, but here's what we're going to do right now. A lot of you, and again, people, I'm urging you to tune in on Saturday because you've heard GDP, GNI, debt to whatever ratio. You hear all of these things and you don't understand them. We're going to break them down for you this Saturday so you understand. Just like now, we're going to break down the political economic models. We're not taking a side. These are facts. We'll give them to you. Now, when you hear somebody say capitalism, make sure you understand what they're talking about, right? Make sure you understand what they're talking about, because here's something. There's a big difference between social democracies and democratic socialist models. Big difference. Big difference. You'll hear people say, well, the Nordic countries, they're democratic socialists. Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, and they'll tell you, look at how progressive, look at how developed those countries are. Those countries are not democratic socialist countries. Those countries are social democracies. Just turn it backwards. Big difference. Here's the first one. Capitalism, free market capitalism. You hear the term bandied about. It's an economic system in which most resources and business are privately owned, not the government. And economic decisions are mainly driven by markets, prices, competition, and profit motive with minimal government intervention. So this is the kind of system where they say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, work hard, save, and you will make it. By the sweat of your brow, you shall eat bread. Enough bread, depending on how much sweat. You'll hear that. Capitalism. See it here? Key features: private ownership of land, businesses and capital, free market. One of the biggest things about it is competition. If you make a better product than the person next door, and you're about supply and demand, where the government them not put a clamp on that. It's like you are going to survive based on your ingenuity. You are going to survive based on your determination. You are going to fail if you don't have those things, because government really play a very, very active role in protecting you. So you have lower taxes and lighter regulation, and inequality depends on the market. Now, here are some examples. United States, Switzerland, Ireland. Now, the question is the United States completely a capitalist state? No. Because they provide a lot of social services. What is it? Medicare for poor people, so you get some health care. And they have other things. They have programs for underprivileged families. Underprivileged families are families who are in dire straits, for children to go to school. You have to qualify, but they have that.
All the social programs. All the social programs, social security benefits, all the social programs that are available for low-income earners, or different groups of people, like you said, children, the elderly, various programs to benefit people based on need. Yes.
That's true. The second one is social market economy, and it's a capitalist system that combines free markets and private ownership with an active Remember, with capitalism, you always hear them say, government must rein itself in and let the market dictate. With this one, social market, the government is playing an active role to promote competition, social justice, and economic stability, also called social market capitalism. Go by yourself. Here it is. Still, private property and free enterprise, just like this one right here. But government is involved. They ensure fair competition and there's strong regulation to prevent abuse of market power. They have social insurance and safety nets, just like what Sister Maria was just talking about. They protect workers and moderate to high taxes to fund public services. Here are examples of those countries: Germany, Austria, Holland, Netherlands, and Belgium. Countries that people say these are developed countries, right? Social democracy, welfare capitalism, they call it, a democratic system that combines a market economy with extensive welfare states and strong labor. Here it is. Again, private ownership, that they have healthcare, strong labor unions, high taxes to fund welfare state. And look at the examples of these countries. See that? The Nordic countries, where people point to all the time. These are social democracies, not democratic socialist countries. Social democracies. And things work in these countries. The taxes are extremely high, but they have a remarkable social services net to help people. So education, infrastructure, if you haven't been there, just read about Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Iceland. Just read about them, right? Then, here we go, the next one. Southern European social democracy, mixed economy. And this is where now you have capitalist economies mixed with socialist or social democratic movements and governments. Again, predominantly private economy. They have a lot of welfare and public services, high taxes, but they're not as equal as the Nordic states. And those countries are Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Greece. Moving right along. See it now, democratic socialism. It is a political and economic system that seeks to achieve socialism, greater social and economic equality through democratic means. So even though it might sound like communism, they have elections. That's one of the hallmarks of democracy, that you can have free and fair elections. And it says with substantial social, cooperative, or worker ownership of the means of production. So in this one now, it's saying, look, the means of production should be owned by the people. We're still going to have semblance of capitalism. We're still going to have semblance of we're going to have free and fair elections, but the means of production will be owned by the people. Here it is. Democracy in politics and economy, social, cooperative, or worker ownership, economic planning, and the goal of it, this is where we should focus on, right here. The one thing that'll give me a problem. Hold on a second. We should be focused on this. This, we are going now. All right. Right down so the very last bullet point. We know we're going now. The goal is equality, workers' rights, and meeting human needs. Now look at this. We come over here so now and we say, okay, give us an example of a country like this. It says no country has fully implemented this at the national level. None. None. Some people might say, well, Jamaica was almost there, but the thing is, a lot of factors. You have market factors, and also we should never forget the fact that there are countries who don't want to see this implemented because of its whether factual or imagine the connection to communism. That some countries, you know, they will destabilize a country if you try to put something like this out. And here's state social. This is communism now. This is communism, state socialism. And in this form of government or economic system, the state owns everything, or almost all of them. And it's usually linked to one party or authoritarian rule. You can think about Russia when you think about this. You can think about China several years ago when you think about this. Venezuela, Cuba. And here are the key features. The state, the government owns the major resources, and everything is planned. There's a central planning committee. They plan everything for you. How much food you can go at the store go get, you know, how much petrol, transportation, all of these things. It's planned out for you. How many babies you can have, all of these are planned out. You really don't have any choice in the matter. Remember one time China was saying there about like a 2-baby policy, and you couldn't have 3 babies in China. You only said 2, right? And there it is, the prices and production, not by competition, but by the state. And the political power is concentrated in one party. And examples, Cuba, USSR, that's Soviet Union, Eastern Bloc countries. No. We always hear the Prime Minister now talk about Jamaica should have been, or Jamaica, we're like the Singapore, want to be the Singapore. And then the Miami Herald put out saying that Jamaica is the new superpower in
the Caribbean, rubbish.
Caribbean, right? And them always try, Jamaica. This government always tries very hard to associate itself with Singapore. No, I've been to Singapore. Jamaica is nowhere near Singapore.
No.
Nowhere near Singapore. Nowhere.
But Rafigan, before you remember what I was going to say, the Prime Minister is saying he wants Jamaica to be like Singapore. Does he realize that if Jamaica was Singapore, he would have been arrested, and he and his entire cabinet?
No, I don't think I think him skipped a part there.
Well, that's the first thing he should pay attention to.
Meritocracy or the lack thereof, him skipped a part then.
Right.
Singapore. Where does Singapore fit? Right? And here it is right there. Because we've heard that Singapore came to Jamaica and copied our model of government. No, here it is right now. Singapore operates a market capitalism model with significant state ownership. Remember, we show you, it's up there, so. See it right there, so this is Singapore right here. This one here. This is it. See that? Government is involved, but capitalism is allowed to prosper. And CETA, it is a highly open, competitive market economy. Rule of law. Rule of law. Low taxes and pro-business policies. At the same time, the government owns substantial assets through state investment entities, which hold major stakes in key companies in sectors like finance, telecommunications, transport, energy, engineering, and real estate. Did somebody say telecommunications? Somebody say energy? Who owns JPS? How you going to become Singapore and you sell out JPS? How you become Singapore and you sell off the real estate?
Yeah. Not all the natural resources.
Yeah. So here's what we need to know when the Prime Minister starts talking about this foolishness with Singapore. We need to say, remind him of this. CETA, no country fits perfectly into one box. None. Most countries are mixed economies. They have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
If you go to the extremes, you're bound to fail if you go to the extremes. Mixed economies that combine elements from multiple models. And what we just show you is a general tendency from more market private ownership to more social public ownership, not exact boundaries. Not exact boundaries. So the question we have to ask the Prime Minister is, which one of them, in my use? Which one of the models is he using? Because here's what happened. If I use capitalism, it might fail. If him use social market economy, he might fail. If him use social democracy, he might fail. If him can't use this one, this mixed economy, social democracy and mixed economy, him run from democratic socialism, run from communism, and when do he not tell you what style of government you know. Him tell us they want to be like Singapore. That's him tell you who want to be like Singapore. So, people, like I said, I don't hear the conversation. I didn't hear the conversation about democratic socialism. All I can tell you is that these are the models that exist. And it is important for our government to let us know which model they're using so that we can understand and we will develop a certain expectation. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. And right now the government is running around like a chicken without its head. They don't know where they fit. And part of that is they don't care where they fit.
100%.
As long as the money is rolling in and the coppers and they can take their share, that's all. They don't care about you. And when I say that, I'm saying in general, because if you look hard enough, somebody will, I don't want to be absolute, because somebody will say, oh, well, this person is doing this and that person is doing that. I'm saying as a government, they don't care about you. Them sell off everything. Your budget song, Country for Sale, them sell off everything. Your Queen Africa song, them sell off the national airline, the Birdwing Brook. You hear all of these songs. The question I have is, when will we take action? And we've been saying it time and time and time again. So, sis, let me just step off at the stage now and give you a chance to say a piece of thing. Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't say hi to the people in the chat. Greetings, my sisters and my brothers. Hallelujah. Okay. I have been hearing this conversation about democratic socialism and the failure of democratic socialism. But before I even say my piece on it, Andrew Holness practices none of the governance models that you have just listed, none of them. He doesn't even practice the Westminster style of governance that they claim that they are part of. He doesn't practice that. He practices his own system of governance. No accountability, no transparency, do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it, don't give a damn. All right, that aside. We have to go back to the beginning to kind of come forward. And it was Norman Manley and the founders of the People's National Party back in, the party was founded in 1938, but back in 1948, they decided on a model of governance that they would want to practice. And you mentioned social democracy, Rattigan. And of a truth, Norman Manley started out practicing socialism, but with a democratic approach, right? Which means you're going to have elections, that sort of thing, as you just broke down. And it was Michael Manley who, when he came into power in the 1970s, decided now to take on the democratic socialist model of governance. Now, many persons are saying it is a failure, but what is a failure? If a thing wasn't allowed to come to fruition in its fullest extent, to its fullest potential, how then can it be deemed a failure? The things that you talked about, the different models that you talked about, capitalism and what capitalism does, social democracy and all of that. But when you look at some of the policies that came out of the Michael Manley administration of the 1970s, which he deemed democratic socialist policies. If they're going to claim, if the claim is that it failed, what then have they done to correct that? What would they have done different, and what are they doing now, since they say that this thing has failed? Now let's look at what is considered a failure, because my thing is that if you say something is a failure, then how do you explain the following things? Now, since we're focusing on the 1970s, let's look at some of the things that came out of the 1970s, right? You had free education, free health care, you had the National Housing Trust, you had National Youth Service, you had a Jamal program that had an adult literacy program. And let me just zero in on the adult literacy program for a little bit. The adult literacy program was so effective that the literacy rate in the 70s was 85%. It went from being about 16% in the 1800s. Then it went to 45%. It was 16.3% in 1871, all right? So in 1971, that would have been 100 years. And in 1911, it was 47%. And in 1943, it was 67.9%. In the 1970s, it was 80%. So what I'm looking at here are things that came as a result of the democratic socialist model that was being practiced by Michael Manley's People's National Party. And we can go back to Norman Manley, the founder, and he introduced the common entrance exams and other social programs that are still in play today. So based on all that is said, that is being said about democratic socialism and its failure, did it fail or was it sabotaged? Because all the things that I just listed are still in play to this day, being utilized by the very administration that is saying, oh, it is a failure, we cannot go back there. So, and they have done nothing to correct this failure. So if one has done nothing to correct a failure, how then can you say the thing was a failure? But you're using it because NHT, the monies are coming from NHT. It came from them. The education system. Many of the persons know who are leaders in society benefited from that free education system. And they are now depriving the children of the poor and the marginalized from access to that same education. The healthcare system was way better than it is now. So what has been done through the systems that the model that Andrew Wallace is practicing right now to rectify that which they say was no good? When you look at the education system now, what is the literacy rate now? The universities are squealing, the principals are squealing because they cannot fill out the universities because there's not the cohort who graduated from high school, passed their exam, and can matriculate into university system, colleges, institutions. So to say that it was a failure and we cannot do that, my question is, how has the capitalist system been effective? Because if you look the world over right now at systems that are predominantly practicing capitalism, what do we see happening? That the power and wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, and the pressure is on the majority. Increased taxes are placed on the majority who can least afford it, while the handful are getting tax breaks. To do what? And it is not unique to the Jamaican space. It is happening all across the world. And people are saying that there has to be a better way to help the least among us. So in the conversations about democratic socialism, one has to ask, What are your options? What would you do different? What are you doing different to make sure that the persons who are in need are getting the help that they so desire? Healthcare, education, road infrastructure. All right. School is going to reopen in less than 2 weeks. What is the education system like? What are the school systems? How are the schools? Have they been fixed to meet the needs of the students? We just had exam results come out of 30,000 students who took the exam. Only 6,000 passed math, English, 5 subjects, including math and English. Whereas the system that you say was a failure, the exam rate was higher, where the literacy rate was so high that the universities, the colleges and the universities had more students and they had spaces for. And the same one applied in the high schools and grade school, all the way down from basic all the way through to tertiary. The education system was better. That can be used as a measurement to say whether or not something was a failure or it was sabotaged. So that is my 2 cents for now on my perspective on what the democratic socialist model of the 1970s was, what it did and continues to do in the institutions and agencies that are there, that have withstood the test of time.
My personal view on it is this. I don't believe in labels. I believe in taking care of people, because people can label anything they want to label it, and then they still don't take care of people. Take care of the people, them. And
true.
And it's not being done. It's not being done. We don't even know which label I use right now. But I want to show you something, people. And that's why I want to come around here. See this? The most dangerous people, our most dangerous person is the one who listens, thinks, and observes. And that's why I appreciate your presence here all the time, because you have made a choice to be here because you want to listen, you want to think, and you're observing. And then there's another part to it. You present. You go out and you're ambassadors for this program. You're ambassadors for the people of Jamaica, and you go out and you spread the gospel. Now, I want to show you something regarding Cooper's Pen. This is very telling. Listen to this.
Hello, I'm Kimon Francis. New Falmouth Resorts Limited is facing a $26.3 million property tax bill on the land at the center of a dispute with the residents of Cooper's Pen in Trelawney. Tax Administration Jamaica records show the company has failed to pay property taxes for 6 consecutive years since 2020, accumulating more than $2 million in penalties. The land is valued at $390 million.
Let me play that again, because some of you might not have thought about Cooper's Pen in this regard. I'm going to play it again. I'm not sure if all of you have seen this short video. But not only do I want you to see it, I want you to listen. Remember, you listen, you think, you observe. I want you to listen, think, and observe. Listen again.
Hello, I'm Kimon Francis. New Falmouth Resorts Limited is facing a $26.3 million property tax bill on the land at the center of a dispute with the residents of Cooper's Pen in Trelawney. Tax Administration Jamaica records show the company has failed to pay property taxes for 6 consecutive years since 2020, accumulating more than $2 million in penalties. The land is valued at $390 million.
Okay, let me move this.
Before you move on, Ratigan, I have a question for you. So that's been since 2020. So what happened in the years prior to 2020?
The assumption is that taxes, based on this report, the assumption is that taxes were paid up to 2020. If you notice, people, one of the things that we put on the promo for tonight, thumbnail, was will the real owners of Cooper's Pen stand up? Real owners stand up. Here's why. We have been given the understanding that this company that allegedly owns Cooper's Pen is not registered, or it was registered at one point. It's no longer registered with the appropriate agency in Jamaica. So if they're not registered, I'm trying to think, what is their legal right? Do they have a legal right to go to court and file an action against the people living on the land? That's one question. Two is, you haven't paid your taxes, assuming that they own it, because the ownership is cloudy at this point. Title is murky because you have all kinds of things going on. So what I'm trying to do is work from this point going backwards, not coming from slavery and come all the way up, because you're going to get confused if you try to do that, because there have been several owners, children involved, partners involved, this, that. So start from this point and go back. Start out with saying, who applied to dispossess these people off the land? Who? Must be an owner. Must be an owner. We need to see the document that the court signed. We need to see who applied for the dispossession, thereby giving the bailiff the authorization to remove or to knock down the buildings and remove people. We need to see that. We need to see that name. If the name is the name of that entity that's not registered, you have a little problem. But here is something I'm going to show you that is very problematic. Remember now what they said. They said taxes have not been paid for 6 years. Take a look at this. We always come with our receipts, right? This is an amendment to the Tax Collection Act, right? In 2017, they revised or they amended the old tax laws, and they put up that. Now, here is the part I want you to go to. Here it is. It says the Principal Act is amended by inserting next after Section 46 the following sections. The Commissioner General. Let me grab my green now. All right, see there? The Commissioner General, taxman, may, in accordance with rules of court, apply to the Supreme Court for an order of sale in respect of any land, in respect of which any amount due and payable under the Property Tax Act is in arrears for at least what? 6 years? No, 4 consecutive financial years before the financial year in which the first notification in respect thereof is published under subsection 2. So what this is saying, if you don't pay your property tax for 4 years, the 5th year, the government can come in and take action against you. Now, look at what they can do. It says the notifications required under subsection 2, so you have to go to 2. It says it's published under subsection 2. So what that means? That means we have to go to 2. Here is 2. See it right there, so? It says, before making an application under subsection 1, which is what we just went over, in respect of land, the Commissioner General shall cause a notice of intention to apply under subsection 2 in respect of the land to be published. So it's saying that if you don't pay your taxes for 4 years, the Commissioner General, taxman, There are certain things that he can do. One of them is that he can file the action in court. But here's what he has to do. He has to, in a conspicuous location on the property in question, you have to put up a notice. And you put up a notice in a daily newspaper on at least 2 occasions, at least 14 days apart, with the last such publication being not less than 1 month before the date of the application. So it says that before you come and apply, put the notice out there to the people who don't pay the taxes. And you have to put it on the property, and you have to put it in a daily newspaper in Jamaica at least 2 weeks apart. So you put one now, put a notice in the newspaper now, and you wait at least 2 weeks and you put the same notice again. It says here, for the purposes of subsection 2, any error in it shall not render the notice ineffective. Okay, hold on a second. Here it is. So then now they're going to have a hearing about this tax thing, right? And it says, the Commissioner General shall cause a notice thereof to be published in a daily newspaper, again for 14 years. This is about the hearing now. So we're going to have a hearing. See it right here? Date fixed for the hearing. And the notice shall be deemed to be sufficient notice. Look at this. Any person who claims an interest in the land in respect of which an application is made under subsection 1 is entitled to be heard on the application. So what this means is that if you are claiming ownership of this land and you haven't paid taxes in at least 4 years, you have to come to court. You have a right to be heard on the application for the commissioner to take away your property, force a sale, or just make it become crown lands. Now, if you don't show up, if that's the owner show up and you don't show up, guess what? That property can be converted to crown land. Want to hear me? That property, if you don't show up and you just said, no, you're not going to show up, we're going to convert to crown land. Now, here's the thing. If you show up, now we know you have to prove ownership. You have to prove ownership. Now, did the government do this because they haven't paid taxes in 6 years? Did the government, the Commissioner General, the taxman, I don't know the name if it's he or she, but did that person initiate this action? Did they? Because if they did, we certainly would like to know the outcome. When is that hearing going to take place? Did they post a notice in a conspicuous spot on the property? Did they notify the owners? Did they get the date for the hearing? Did the owners express an interest in opposing the action or representing themselves in the action? We don't know. We don't know. So people, what we need to find out, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying, will the true owners stand up? Because all the government has to do now is to go ahead, the taxman, and file this action and say, you haven't paid your taxes in 6 years. Here's the action. We need to know what is going on. We need to know who the true owners are. And that's why I'm saying to the easiest way to do this is to start from where we are and work backwards. Don't come from the 1800s and come up. You're going to get confused, people. You're going to get confused. But once
the Commissioner General is a man, it's Ainsley Powell.
I'm sorry?
The Commissioner General is a man, it's Ainsley Powell.
Well, Ainsley Powell, Mr. Ainsley Powell, sir, with maximum respect, we're asking, as concerned citizens of Jamaica, as people who align themselves with the people of Cooper's Pen, because all we are one, we need to know, have you taken the appropriate steps to determine who is the true owner and what will happen in court concerning the non-payment of taxes? Because the law says that after 4 years, you have the right to bring this action against them. And when you bring the action, now everything will go bust out, because now we're going to know who is the owner, because only the owners can show up for this. And by the way, when you say only the owners, when you come to court, you have to be able to prove that you are the owner. You don't just come and say, I am the owner. You have to be able to come and prove that you're the owner. And once you come in a court, the whole thing unravel. The whole thing unravel going backwards. Because now, guess what? Now we can draw for this. I wait there. What me think that we made the draw for? Like this. Hold on, the people. Yeah, no, we can draw for this. No, we can draw for this. And remember this? This is just one, because remember human rights violations as well, when they're arrested or detained.
The young man.
Take them go to the station. That's one. But here's another one. We can say, well, wait a minute. If you are the owner, then how come them come at 3 a.m. when your warrant under the law could only be executed between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. How? People, I'm telling you, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. When name again, Ainsley what?
Ainsley Powell.
Mr. Powell. Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Powell, you need to bring this action. You need to bring this action. People, simple. If you go the other way, it's going to be complex, trying to determine who the owner is. This is simple. Just bring it out. And somebody said to me, what do I mean by somebody mentioned something. So what do I mean by I forgot word. What do I mean by people need to take here it is. Mr. Rattigan, when you say when will we take action, what exactly are you referring to? That's Diane Brown. What I'm referring to, Diane Brown, is this. You're getting this education. You're getting this knowledge. You can't let it reside within you. It's something that you have to propagate. You have to spread this. And when I say we will have to do something about, meaning that each one will teach one. And together we'll become a united force, a force to contend with. And then we can take legal steps. I don't advocate anything illegal. And what that means is that now you can start doing your gatherings, your marches, your protests, your writings. You can write to outside agencies out of Jamaica, because we know in Jamaica they're not going to give you the information. We just saw where the Speaker of the House said that they're going to make it easy for you now to get information about Parliament. So anything you want to know concerning debates, you can get it now. But what they didn't talk about is the access to information. They didn't talk about that because they shut down. They're not, for me, they're not giving me anything more. They shut down because you know why? There is no consequence. There is no consequence. So what they do is they say, Mr. Rattigan, we're not going to give you, do whatever you want to do. What is my recourse? My recourse is to beg them, beg the head of the agency, the minister, to reconsider. And if that doesn't work, then I have to go to the tribunal. The tribunal is largely useless. I've had cases pending there for years. No resolution. And so, again, opposition, on the need to get up and do something about this. You know, I'd like to ask the opposition this question. How many of you have actually filed an ATI? That's a reasonable question. How many of you have actually, because what you should do as an opposition, you should go on a campaign of filing ATIs just to see what the government is going to do if you're going to get information. And then when you don't get information, then you're in Parliament. You raise the issue. There are people outside. I was part of a committee that we're trying to reform the ATI law. I don't know. I have to go back and check and see where we are with that. But I think we finalized it. Now, whether or not the government is going to accept it, that's a different question. Because remember that the system of government we have in Jamaica is not truly democratic. Because unless it has to do with the Constitution, it's the majority vote. And they have 35. But take a stand. That's what I'm saying to the opposition. Take a stand. Do these things because you don't represent yourselves, you represent communities. Do these things. Challenge the government. Let people see that you're actually doing something regarding some of these release of information. And you know what? And I think, I'm just guessing now, that something happened while the speaker decided to make this happen, because, you know, they're not going to do anything against their interest. They won't. So something happened. So make that happen with ATI as well. Make that happen. People, we only have 13 minutes, and we just get warm up. Me and Jim just start get warm. We didn't move off yet, but sis, go ahead.
You know, I'm just thinking about what you said about using the opposition, you know, doing something, and it brought me to the NARA bill. And I remember the extensive debate in the parliament on the NARA bill. And I remember Mark Golding and many other opposition members taking a fine-tooth comb to the bill. And some of what ISAT recommended, I think, was added to the bill. But some of the key changes that they wanted in the bill was never adopted.
Right.
And because they just needed a simple majority, it passed. And as a matter of fact, I remember when I think it was one of the members on the opposition side called for a divide, the speaker conveniently did not hear.
Right.
And you see all those things happening, and you're like, you know, the opposition, the government is not serious about operating in a democracy. They're only concerned about doing things Andrew's way and the way of the Jamaica Labour Party, the cabinet, screw everybody else. And there are other cases, and this is a bill, so it passed. And I know there are other things that they cannot do without the opposition because they require a 2/3 majority. Prior to that, they could do anything they want because they had 40-something and the opposition only had 14. So things are changed now. With the required 2/3 majority, it is going to be more difficult for them to pass something like constitutional reform. If the opposition, they are not on board with what the opposition recommends, then that's not going anywhere. And quite frankly, I believe it should go nowhere because they're not serious. But going back to the land issue, I don't know if you watched the Minister Without Portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for land titling, lands Montague, his debates, and when he talked about them going after squatters, because you see, when they wanted their votes, you know, Andrew was would have walked through, and he has roll up his pants and walk through dirty water barefooted, and then maybe he throw J's on his foot later to prevent him from getting triggered. But now that he has gotten into power, he doesn't care about them. They are squatters. And my position is that they cannot be squatters. You cannot call Jamaicans squatters in their own land. And given the history that you outlined before of coming from slavery and not getting any lands, and after they gave them the 4 years, they brought in indentured servants, and they really didn't get any land. And so this thing has been going on for hundreds of years, for decades. But here's the other thing. When you read what that news piece, Rattigan, it left me with two questions. And the two questions are, who has interest in the land, right? And who really stands to benefit? Because the government, they know where the prime properties are. They have the resources to find out who is paying taxes, who owe this, all of that. And given that so many members of parliament, ministers of government are recipients of real estate, and they call it gifts, I am now left to wonder who within that cohort of persons have interest in this property. Because the truth of the matter is, Rattigan, I don't think this is something being done by New Falmouth Resorts, because they've been deregistered, as a matter of fact, for not paying the taxes. So having not paid the taxes for 6 years, they know that. So you have the people living on there. Like you said, it can become crown lands because the government can now seize the land and make it crown lands. If using that school of thought, why then not leave the people there and regularize them? If that school of thought doesn't work, who has interest in the land? Because too many persons in the parliament, in the government, in the cabinet, I should say, are real estate developers, whether they are directly or indirectly through their friends, through their business partners, or through family members. Too many of them are real estate developers. So it leaves more questions than answers. And like you said, who went to court and filed? Because this was done in June of this year. So who did that? And that is what we'd like to know.
Right. And the way you start out with this is the tax people, if they file that action in the Supreme Court, everything is going to unravel. Because the questions we're asking, who, it will be answered, because the person who is the who, or the people who are the who, or the entity that is the who, they must show up and account for the 6 years of non-payment of taxes.
Of non-payment of taxes.
Yes. When they show up, now you're going to figure, now you can go back and say, okay, now let's look at the warrant of possession. Who petitioned for that?
Mm-hmm.
And say, okay, is it the same person who never paid the taxes who petitioned for the warrant of possession, or is it somebody else? Mm-hmm. And it's split. And so one part of the owners, one section of the owners, they filed for the warrant of possession, but another one going to show for the tax thing. All of this is going to unravel once you do that. Once you file that action in the Supreme Court for the non-payment of taxes. So, but here's the thing. Will they file that action? Will they file that action? No, I've been led to believe that if government is involved in this, they're not going to file that action. They're going to find
the government is involved, Ratigan. No, seriously.
No, but I don't have any empirical evidence or independent evidence of that. We are assuming.
Yes.
What I'm saying, if they're involved, it would make sense for them not to go to court. But people will need to force this tax person. What name again? What name?
Ainsley Powell.
Well, okay. We need to force Mr. Ainsley Powell to go to court. Are those not public documents? OT said. Well, depends, OT, because if you file under ATI, they might be exempt. Not sure. But they'll play games with you if you file for ATI. They will something like this, they probably won't answer you. They probably won't answer you. Let's ignore you. But Mr. Ainsley Powell, we're asking you, please, sir, on behalf of the Jamaican people, particularly the taxpayers, you need to file this action in the Supreme Court and let the true owners come and defend the action. And so once they...
Mr. Rattigan.
Sure.
Don't remember, it comes because, okay now, given that they violated the constitutional rights of the men that they detained, they were not charged, there no reason to do it for doing it. Through the process, going through the court process, can that process now unearth who the filers were?
Yeah, because you can ask for, well, here's the thing. I don't want to give him any ideas, but a smart attorney could get around that. Procedurally, they could get around telling who the filers were, because they could separate the action. You know what, let me stop right there. Come on, because
yeah.
Why you tell them that? So we may just leave it. But there are ways that they can go around it and
no, but yeah. Look, what I want to ascertain is whether or not going through a lawyer who's not compromised, because the truth is too many lawyers are, but a lawyer who is really fighting on their behalf to make sure that justice comes for those people. And the truth is the taxpayers of Jamaica are going to have to pay up, you know?
Right.
Can that process then get to the truth that we are trying to find? Because we are not trying to find, we are not getting it from through the regular channels that it should be coming from. All right, and we don't see anybody asking for that information, forcefully asking for that information.
Right.
So again, this is the only option that I'm seeing. This is the only avenue that I'm seeing where the lawyers can say, okay, who are the persons who filed to have these persons kicked off the land? We need to see the names.
Yeah,
and in a just and democratic society, that's exactly what would happen.
The problem, though, is that you have two, they would split it. You have two separate issues. You have one, an illegal detention. And if you ask for detention, they'll say, well, this has nothing to do with, if you're going to sue because of illegal detention, then fine. We can say these men were detained and they were detained illegally, and so we'll just pay the money. So we don't have to tell you anything. It's not a bad idea, though. It's not a bad idea to come from that angle, because you don't know what could happen. But so what I would say is that you come from both angles. You come from the human rights part of it, and then you come from the legal aspect of it in terms of property ownership and the taxes. You come from that angle as well. The question is, who's going to do it? And somebody put in the chat that they say that really what they're saying is don't expect that to take place.
But I'm saying, so those persons who had their homes demolished, that's the human rights aspect. And you're saying they do have some rights. Do they have, okay, I should ask it this way then. The persons who had their homes demolished, what rights do they have? What recourse do they have?
They have recourse. They can sue for destruction of property, among other things.
Okay.
Yeah, but then that wouldn't really get them to the tax part to find out the true owners, because they would sue and say, hey, they knocked down my property and they came at the wrong time, even if they had a warrant of possession. What could happen is that they could just say, listen, we're not going to argue with you, we'll pay the fine. We'll just pay. We don't need to ventilate this in court. We'll just pay the fine. So they'll go to court. They'll say, judge, you know what? Give us the bill. We'll pay. We'll pay it. We'll. But then they'll pay it, and then they'll still come back, because there's still an act. There's still the action concerning possession of the land. There's still that action, so they can fix up the house and still come after them again. So it's like I'm saying with Cyrus, this way name again? Ainsley Powell, I say his name?
Yes, Ainsley Powell.
Powell, I'm not making fun of you, sir. I'm being serious. Please, the poor people have cried enough. Don't make them eye water fall upon you. Their eye water fall has fallen someplace else, and the results remain to be seen. We're asking you, use your discretion and take this matter to court for the non-payment of taxes, so we can see who's going to come and defend the action. And then from there, now we can work backwards and deal with this thing. Watch out, sis, at 10 o'clock, Kevin said we'll come off early. So that, by the way, people go over and support Kevin. DJ Kevin Stew, I'm having program right now. Can go over and support him. And just want to say to all of you, thank you so much for making the choice to be with us tonight. And I trust that you will be with us on Saturday. See what we are showing you Saturday now. See, Tia?
Wow. It's more than a gap, you know.
Well,
it's more than a gap, you know. It's a gulf.
Mark my words. Yeah, it's a chasm. It's a gulf. Right.
Yeah, what Rattigan, seriously.
Go ahead.
Did you see the minister busy in the streets? You know what the Minister of Health is concerned about?
No.
Masturbation.
Sis.
Make it make some sense.
Sis, let me tell you something. I'm concerned about more than that. We have recent news. We have news past that. We have news current as of today. People want to not come Saturday. Believe me. I've been told, don't say more than just tell the people that it's going to be an exciting program. It's going to be an informative program. It's going to be an educational program. And have them come.
Can you ease up on the word exciting, please?
All right. All right. Mr. Ainsley Powell here. She said maybe Mr. Ainsley Powell should be doing something exciting. He should go. But no. And then on Saturday, people, we're having our summer exam. Students, you have to come. I hope you've been studying. We gave you some clues tonight. They're not even clues. We came right out and told you that this is going to be on the exam. We're not giving you the questions, but we're telling you about the subject matter because, it's been going on all summer. We could pick, choose, and refuse from a number of programs. And we will have 10 questions and 1 bonus question. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to all of you joining us. So, sis, I want to thank you again.
And I thank you for having me in your space, and to everyone, a blessed good night. Have a good one. We'll talk.
All right, sis. Bless up yourself.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, man. Bye.
Come in, Oti.
Defending your rights, I saw him stay. Say from him, step up all eyes on him. I defend the people, them set spice on him. Even politicians spread lies on him. But we know the bugger them not wise like him. Back up, them not ties on him. Them know said that the people rely on him. You know said them bring out them cries through him. That's why all the people them respect him.
10 long years and look how Jamaica stay. No light, no road, no food pan we plate. People are suffer while Andrew live great. You stand up on the platform, smile wide and proud. I tell we about prosperity, but we can't see it all now. Hurricane come through, I left the people here. 6 months later, them still out, asleep under the air. Their JLP friends, them build high-rise, road still full of hope. I whose pocket you a fill, while the nation lose its soul. Hospital overflow, picnic can't get bed. School roof a leak, but you want Juliet, well fed. You always have excuse, always pass the blame. Every time something wrong, it never go in your name. Jamaica a drown and you claim you're unclean. Biggest actor in our politics we ever see. Boldness, time to go, the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not panic door. Boldness, time to go, from Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Oh, that's not time we go. Farmer can't afford to plant food, price reach the sky. You bring in the poverty while your own people cry. We born you, we grow you, we bleed for this land. But Andrew at the top out extending man. You talk about vision, you talk about plan. But 10 years later we still can't understand. Corruption report land and nobody charge. The people pocket small but the scandal them large. Who's crack up parish council bro? Country suffocating and it just more. And when we raise the voice up all we political. But the truth is the truth and the truth is biblical. Time to go, the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not panic door. Time to go, from Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All this our time to go. We no want no hype, we no want no speech. We want action, no not the lies you preach. Hurricane victims still under tarpaulin. Prime Minister fly gone foreign. Your JLP cabinet full, but the people covered empty. Oh, you live so large when we living so scanty. Not with fists, not with fire, but we voice them rising higher and higher. From every parish, every yard, every gate, Jamaica speaking and I'm not too late. Time to go, the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not panic door. Time to go, from Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Oh, it's our time to go. This one is for every Jamaican. We can't afford feet. We are sleep on cardboard. We are drive on broken road.